Something extraordinary is happening on the world stage right now, and the mainstream media is doing everything in their power to hide it from you. President Trump, in just 95 days back in office, has completely transformed America's position in the global hierarchy. Foreign leaders are literally lining up for meetings, and the list is reportedly 3 pages long, single space. But here's what's really sending shockwaves through the international community. What? Well, why are certain countries suddenly scrambling to negotiate? What unprecedented move regarding the Pope has diplomats stunned? And why is Baron Trump's unique communication strategy at NYU relevant to national security? Well, the answers reveal a masterclass in strategic leadership that has global implications. Continue watching this special report because we have a Noble Gold Investments alert as well. Did you know that gold has surged 46% in less than a year, doubling the gains of NASDAQ and S&P 500? It's not another rally. Global reserves are shifting, exposing cracks in the monetary system. Investors are losing confidence in paper gold and demanding physical metal, creating a massive gap between gold owed and gold available. But this is not how institutions broke another system. It's about how you can profit from it. Right now, Noble Gold Investments has a limited supply of investment-grade gold bars and coins available. As banks scramble to fulfill their obligations, pushing gold prices higher, you can profit. Smart investors are already moving into physical gold, and Noble Gold makes it easy for you to do the same. And when you make a qualified investment, they will add a free 10th-ounce gold coin to your order. Visit nextnewsgold.com. It's linked in the description if you tap more below this video. Or that number on the screen, write it down, 877-646-5347. Make sure you tell them that Gary Franchi and the Next News Network sent you. And tell Colin I said hi, would you? All right, what do we got here? Yes, bombshell news. President Trump reshaping the global order. The America First policies are on fire. From the Middle East to Ukraine to China, Trump is negotiating deals for peace while establishing strength on the world stage. The results speak for themselves. Now, President Trump is heading to Rome, all right, to pay his respects to Pope Francis while simultaneously negotiating with Putin to end the Ukraine war and save 5,000 young lives every week. That's what his aim is. Here is a quick press gaggle that he just gave earlier today as he was departing. These are some of the most amazing moments to capture if you're ever at the White House when President Trump is there departing on Marine One. I've seen it a number of times, but let's go to those moments earlier today.
Mr. President, you said that you have spoken to President Xi. When did that happen? China says it hasn't happened.
I spoke to him numerous times. So we're leaving and going to Rome, where we'll be attending the funeral of Pope Francis. Some of you are going to go. Anybody going? And it's going to be very interesting. We're going to meet with a lot of the foreign leaders. They want to meet. Trade deals are going very well. I think Russia and Ukraine, I think they're coming along, we hope. It's very fragile. And Iran, I think, is going very well. We'll see what happens. We're working on plenty of things that shouldn't be worked on because none of this stuff should have happened. This should have been taken place by Biden. It should have been fixed by Biden, but he couldn't do it, nor could he come close to doing. So anyway, we're going to Rome to pay our respects, and we'll be leaving that same day. We'll be coming back home tomorrow night. And I'll see some of you over there. Otherwise, I'll see you on television.
How was the Whithoff meeting this morning?
You said you spoke with President Xi. Have you spoken to him since the tariffs? When did you last speak with him?
I don't want to comment on that, but I've spoken to him many times, yeah. From Japan? From Japan, I'm getting along very well with Japan. We're very close to a deal.
Will you be meeting with the President?
I'll be meeting with the Italian, yes. Your Prime Minister? Oh, it's possible.
How would you as the First Lady remember Pope Francis, sir? How would you as the First Lady?
Very well. Good man. He loved the world, actually, and he was just a good man. I met him twice. I thought he was a fantastic kind of a guy.
Time magazine that President Xi called you. When did that happen, and what did you discuss?
I'll let you know at the appropriate time. Let's see if we can make a deal.
The Witkoff-Putin meeting. Any updates on the Witkoff-Putin meeting, sir? The meeting right now. What do you hope to see transpire?
They're meeting with Putin right now as we speak. And we have a lot of things going on. And I think in the end, we're going to end up with a lot of good deals, including tariff deals and trade deals. We're going to make our country rich, but we're going to try and get out of war so that we can save 5,000 people a week. And that's what my aim is. I want to save 5,000 young men. They happen to be mostly Ukrainian, Russian. 5,000 young Ukrainian and Russian men, and that's a big honor if I can do it. I think we're pretty close. No deadline. I just want to do it as fast as possible. What?
12 states have sued over your tariff plan. What do you think of those who voted for you?
I think the tariff plan is doing very well. We're resetting the table. We're going to make our country very rich, very, very rich. It's already happening. Thank you very much.
There he goes. Trump's masterful energy policies crushing Iran's economy. Did you hear this? Quote, when they drive down the cost of oil, guess what? They don't have the revenue, nor does Russia. Newt Gingrich.
Iranians are getting... Yeah, I think that's right. I think when Donald Trump speaks, his words actually matter because he actually follows through and does what he says he's going to do. And so going back to Iran, this is where I think the Iranians are getting the message. At least I hope they do, because it's not against the Iranian people, but the Iranian government has to understand that the president is going to make the United States energy independent. And when they drive down the cost of oil, guess what? They don't make as much money. They don't have the revenue, nor does Russia. And so when the president talks about drill, baby, drill, that is not just to help Americans, it's to help the world's safety, but it's also to get rid of the biggest threats that the world has against, you know, using their nuclear bombs, whether they be Russia or Iran.
Well, and as you note, the president now is going to be visiting Saudi Arabia, and I think that that's a clear indication. He and the Saudis are lockstep on this. The Saudis want to stop the Iranian nuclear program in its tracks. The Saudis see their future in alliance with the U.S. and, frankly, in recognition of Israel and working together with the Israelis. And I think you'll see an expansion of the Abraham Accords, which was one of the great achievements of Trump's first term. So in a lot of ways overseas, he is making progress. And we shouldn't underestimate, just because the news coverage is often so biased, there are things happening here at home that are amazing. If you were to look at the total number of investments that are being made here, it's astonishing. As you know, my wife Calista has been nominated to be the ambassador to Switzerland, and she's been studying in preparation for going to the Senate. And she pointed out to me yesterday there are two major Swiss pharmaceutical companies that between them have announced $90 billion in investments in new factories in the U.S. Wow. That's just two companies. I think there are a dozen or more auto companies that have announced it. We're seeing the leading chip maker in the world has announced a huge investment. I think probably there are $7 or $8 trillion already committed to build things in America, and I think you're going to see a lot more in the next 6 months. And that's the kind of thing that people are going to, a year from now, people are going to be talking about the Trump boom as opposed to the nervousness that we're getting out of all the speculators right now.
Yeah, they have a hard time seeing, 2 days in front of themselves. But I think you're right. By the time we turn the corner into the fall and into the winter, all of that good hard work is going to be paying off, and it will help Americans across the board. Speaker Newt.
It's going to settle. That's the point. Yes, it's going to be hard at first. There's going to be fluctuations and uncertainty, but we have to play the long game. Remember that. And look what Trump has accomplished in just 100 days. Well, 100 days is next Wednesday, but we're at 95 right now. Border crisis solved, criminal aliens being deported, Israel finally allowed to defeat Hamas, Iran being contained, and it's just the beginning. Here's more from Newt Gingrich on Fox News.
It's remarkable. Here now with analysis, Fox News contributor and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Speaker, thank you so much for joining us. A lot to get to. I mean, what the president has accomplished in 100 days is, it's remarkable, his energy. We talk about that a lot, but it can't be stated enough. But overseas, by doing more in
kind of amazing
100 days than we've done in a long time.
Well, look, I think it's been kind of amazing. If you take the whole 100 days, remember, just before he became president again, we had people pouring over the southern border. Within 10 days, that entire thing had basically been stopped in its tracks. In fact, it's such a great success, it's now not a front page story because people have said, okay, check that one off. He is methodically replacing the criminals, as you point out, and getting them out of the country. He gave Israel the go-ahead to finish the job against Hamas, something which Biden had consistently denied them the ability to do. He's really taken a much more aggressive act against the Houthis. And part of that, I think, is to send a signal to Iran that we have not moved our heavy bombers into the Indian Ocean just, for standing by. And I think the president, although he says it very softly, he's trying to make very clear, either the Iranians are going to give up their nuclear program or we are going to destroy their nuclear program. Obviously, the president very much prefers not to have to use force. He's trying to explain it directly. In the case of Ukraine, I think what's fascinating is, this is just my view, but I believe that Putin has totally misunderstood Donald Trump being patient. And I thought today, when Trump snapped at Putin for having bombed Kiev yesterday, you saw the really beginning of a turn. For a long time, the Trump administration focused on getting Ukraine in line. Now they're starting to discover that actually doesn't matter what Ukraine says. Putin wants to continue the war. Putin lies every day. And we'll see what his conversation's like with Steve Witkoff when he's in Moscow. But frankly, I'm not very optimistic because I think Putin does not yet believe that we will actually get involved in helping the Ukrainians. And he believes he can talk and fight, and that we'll be dumb enough to let him do it. I thought today's statement by the president was a clear sign that that may be a major mistake by Vladimir Putin.
And Barron Trump showing some incredible discipline and security awareness at NYU. Apparently, he's using his Xbox for communications instead of sharing his phone number. President Trump probably says his son has unbelievable aptitude in tech, the next generation of America First leadership. Now, I don't know. I mean, okay, so maybe he's using an anonymous name, a screen name on his Xbox, but the minute people find out, Barron Trump 47 is his screen name. I don't know what it is. Maybe that whole security situation will be out the window. Let's listen to what they're saying about this on the news.
With the first family's youngest son, Barron Trump, being a college freshman is never easy, and it's even trickier when you're the son of the U.S. president. At New York University, Barron Trump is finding creative ways to stay in touch with friends while keeping his privacy intact. With Secret Service always nearby and security concerns top of mind, he's ditched his phone number and picked up an Xbox controller instead. The youngest Trump is turning to gaming platforms like Xbox to stay connected on campus. Here's more from New York.
College can be a big adjustment for any freshman, even more so when you're the son of the U.S. president. We're talking about 19-year-old Barron Trump. He's currently navigating student life at New York University with one key difference: the constant presence of Secret Service agents and a need for privacy. Instead of relying on traditional communications methods, Baron Trump has found a workaround that fits right into Gen Z's digital lifestyle. He's reportedly using his Xbox to communicate with his friends. Baron reportedly is steering clear of sharing his phone number for security reasons. Reports state that him sharing his personal number creates more trouble than it's worth, with the risk of the number leaking and potentially leading to endless unsolicited calls. It seems easier to avoid it altogether. Earlier, reports came out suggesting that Baron has been connecting with friends online through Discord, and now he's been using Xbox. Known more for its role in gaming than casual conversation, Xbox allows for private voice and text chats. It's a discreet way for the NYU freshman to maintain a social circle without compromising his safety. A report stated that it's his
until his screen name is leaked.
Communication platform of choice. He's still troubleshooting, but it works for now. According to reports, Baron only shares his Xbox gamer tag with people he knows.
Okay, so he shares his gamer tag only with people he knows. I don't know how any different that would be from sharing your phone number with only people you know. Like, what's the difference, right? I mean, hey, he's a freshman in college, right?
Also reportedly ensures a degree of control over who he talks to. It's part of what reports call gamer bro culture. It's a familiar and private setting where friends can keep in touch through game chats instead of group texts. In an earlier interview, Baron's father, US President Donald Trump, had commented on his son's tech-savvy nature. He had shared an instance where he thought he had successfully turned off his son's laptop, only to find Baron had already turned it back on. The president asked, "How did you do that?" Baron's response, "None of your business, Dad." Trump described his son as someone with unbelievable aptitude in tech. Take that, like everything Trump says, with a pinch of salt.
Okay, that's an interesting anecdote about Barron. We very rarely get any insight into Barron's life, and now you got a little snapshot. And of course, we all know President Trump has renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Why? Because we're not doing this for retired communist college professors. We're doing this for families and kids who gaze upon the great Gulf of America. Here we have House Bill 422, some references done.
We're not doing this for the retired communist college professors. We're doing this for the families and the kids who gaze upon the great Gulf of America and put their toes in the water. Look, Mom, I'm in the Gulf of America. Exciting things like this make people proud of our country. The most loved president in American history wants people to be proud of their country. The left wants people to be ashamed of their country. And I don't think it's any coincidence that the people opposed to this are the same people that hate America. It's a way to show kids in our great state that they should be proud of their country. We're not doing this for the retired.
And China is panicking as Trump's tariffs are working. Apple shifting iPhone production from China to India, South Korea, Japan, rushing to make deals. Foreign leaders are lining up to meet with President Trump. 3 pages, single-spaced.
Are not happy. I don't want to comment on that, but I've spoken to him many times. Yeah.
China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, on the other hand, posted this on X. China and the U.S. are not having any consultation or negotiation on #tariffs. The U.S. should stop creating confusion. We're also learning today that Apple is reportedly shifting production of iPhones for the U.S. market from China to India, aiming for India to make most iPhones sold in the United States by the end of next year. There's progress to report today between South Korea and the United States. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says things are moving faster than expected with that country. We also know he met with the Japanese finance minister yesterday. And this morning, President Trump says that the U.S. is very close to a deal with Japan. As you noted off the top, guys, the president heading to Rome for the Pope's funeral, but it sounds like he has a long list of world leaders to meet. We're told that the list of requests from world leaders to meet with the president was 3 pages, single space, though we don't know exactly who the president has time to meet with.
Activist judge now blocking part of Trump's executive order requiring citizenship proof for voting, but the Trump administration can still match voter rolls with DHS data. Checkmate.
Vote. What was to wait and see? And Nate, a federal judge has made a ruling on an executive order signed by President Trump requiring proof of citizenship or order to vote. What was the decision?
Well, the decision here is blocking part of it. It sides with some Democratic groups who'd argued that you cannot ask people to prove, it's an undue burden to ask people to prove their citizenship when registering to vote. The judge siding with Democrats in that case, the Democratic plaintiffs in that case, saying that this is an issue that has to be either legislated by individual states or by the Congress, so blocking that part of the decision for now. But to be clear, this does not go as far as it could have gone. What this decision does is it leaves in place the Trump administration's ability to try and reference voter rolls in individual states with the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Government Efficiency to take that data and try and determine people's citizenship status, make sure that everyone who is receiving the right to vote is in fact a citizen. So this case continues to play out in court. There's a number of states, including Colorado, where the Attorney General has sued the Trump administration to block it as well. So again, still not clear if there could be further blocks in this case, but a federal judge appointed by Bill Clinton putting that first block, saying that they cannot ask people their citizenship when registering to vote. Again, a decision that has to be made by Congress or individual states.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Nate Reed. To wait and see. And Nate, a federal judge has made a rule.
The Trump revolution is transforming America's position on the world stage. While elites cry about short-term disruptions, real Americans are witnessing the restoration of our economic sovereignty. China crumbling, manufacturing returning, and global leaders are rushing to meet with President Trump. And we have this. Just a few hours ago, some posts by President Trump on Truth Social. He had this to say: Ukraine, headed by Zelensky, has not signed the final papers on the very important rare earths deal with the United States. It is at least 3 weeks late. Hopefully it will be signed immediately. Work on the overall peace deal between Russia and Ukraine is going smoothly. Success seems to be in the future. And then this also, big news out of Africa. Trump says, where I'm also involved in settling violent wars and conflicts. I don't know why so many of these events have fallen to me in my administration, but they have, and we have done an unprecedented job in getting them settled or putting them in a position of peace. Stay tuned. So what we have revealed shows the incredible strategic vision President Trump is implementing on the world stage. While his detractors paint him as impulsive, the evidence demonstrates a clearly orchestrated geopolitical chess game that's already yielding results for American interests. So the question that every American should be asking themselves: if this much has been accomplished in just 95 days, what will America's position look like by the end of President Trump's term? Will we see a completely new global order with America firmly at the center? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. We want to hear your perspective on Trump's global strategy. And speaking of making a statement, check out shop.nextnewsnetwork.com for exclusive Next News Network gear. Show the world where you get your real news as President Trump continues reshaping the global order with America First policies.